you doing there? Henry Olsen here from Super Simple Guitar, and welcome to another guitar lesson. So this is one of my all-time favorite songs, and I'm really happy to have finally learned it and now teach it to you. Just a classic, beautiful guitar riff that you're gonna have a lot of fun playing. So in this lesson, I'm going to teach you, that main legendary lick, riff, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to be showing you that nice little melodic solo line. I'm going to be showing you the chord progression. So no matter what level you're at, there's going to be something in here for you. Even if these chords are too hard, you're still going to be able to maybe take away this little solo line. Right? So no matter what level you're at, there's going to be something in here for you, okay? All right, so before we get into the close-up, have you downloaded my picture chord book yet? If you haven't, make sure to go download that. 42 pages. You're going to master the fretboard, and you're also going to get a free beginner guitar course and a beginner blues course when you go and download that. So check that out. For my All Access members, I'm going to have some goodies in there for you guys, so you're going to have to log in to find out what that is. And without any further ado, let's go and learn this iconic, beautiful song. All right, see you at the close-up. All right, so welcome to the close-up. So the tone for this, basically, is a really clean amp with a lot of reverb. John Mayer had a ton of reverb in the original if you listen to it, okay? So that's kind of how you'll emulate the sound. I also think when I watch his live recordings that he's using this switch here, so not all the way up, but this middle position with these two pickups. So that's kind of like how you'll get the tone, okay? So it goes like this. You slide in on the 5th string, 9th fret into the 11th fret, okay? So, and then you skip a string and you play the 3rd string 9th fret. So that's, and depending on what you want to do, how hard you want to make it, after you do that little slide, you could with your thumb grab that bass note. Because what we're going for is a C sharp minor, okay? So you could grab that bass note. Sometimes I'll use my thumb. Sometimes I'll even get sneaky and use my middle finger, But, if you have a bass player, and even if you listen to the original, I kind of think that the bass player is actually covering that. So to make it simple, if this is too hard for you, it's totally fine to just go and then rely on your bass player to get you that note, okay? So depending on how hard you want to make it, then after that, you could just stay here, right? Or you could use the thumb, optional. You could do a little vibrato if you're not using the thumb, because then it'll be easier to do that vibrato, okay? So, and then with your right hand, you just come down on the strings, and you can hear that reverb. I'm trying to emulate the original, right? So he just comes down and slaps the strings, okay? So, again, optional. Okay, after that, let me show you the notes first, okay? So it's basically this here. So I'm on the 4th string, 11th fret, 3rd string, 9th fret. And then I'm going down to the 8th fret, 9th fret. Okay, so. And then we're going to the 11th fret, 4th and 5th string. Same 2 strings, now the 9th fret. Okay, so I like to use this finger. So I'm using one finger to play both the 4th and 5th string, right? Okay, so all together the whole thing really nice and slow for you. Okay. All right, so now to make this sound more interesting, if you want to make it sound more like the original, more, cool, you can slide in, okay? So, see, I slid in there. Don't ask me where exactly I'm sliding in from. I don't always do it the same, but just, you want to have that slide movement. Okay, into this first one. And then also into here. Okay, so, sorry. See that? Now we go into that next part. So one more time, really slow. I'm going to leave out this note in case that's too hard for you, just so you can see how it would be without it. All right, now we go into the last part, which is, I'm going to play it and then I'll show you. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're holding down the second string 5th fret and the 4th string 4th fret. And I'm doing a hammer on to the 3rd string 6th fret. So, and then I'm releasing. And then I'm going up here to the 4th string and only playing these 2 notes. Okay, so let's. So all together, real slow. To do a little hybrid thing. I'll use my middle finger for the 2nd string and my pick for the 3rd string. Okay, so it's like a little pinch, right? You could pick them both. You could pick them both. Totally fine. The one thing that I forgot to tell you is that with this finger, after I do this, if you're going to do a hammer-on, you'd have to come up with this finger. So, all right, let me show you the most simple way, then we'll make it more interesting. Okay, so the notes are just this, okay? Now, what you could do is also hammer into here, which is what I hear him doing a lot when he plays live. So, now I left this finger here even though I'm not using it. You know, I'm only going for the 3rd and 4th string, but this finger was already here, so I figured why not just leave it there, okay? Okay, so really slow the whole thing again, and then I'm going to show you a couple more things that you could do if you want to spice it up even more, okay? So, okay, one more time. Or you could do, then you're going to have to creep up with your first finger so you can get this note, right? So we're basically doing a hammer on like that, right? But we're using this finger to bar it. Okay? Okay, we're getting there, my friend. We are getting there. So that's the first time around. Now, if you want to make this thing juicier and more interesting, again, I think in the original, Mayer has a bass player covering these notes. But if you want to go crazy with it and, you know, play all these notes yourself, you could, right as you do this move here, this first one, use the A bass note. And now I'm using both of these fingers, my middle finger and my ring finger, to get the 2nd and 3rd string, and I'm using the pick for my 6th string. So, and that's going to fatten it up a little bit, but it's a little bit harder to do, especially if you've never used your thumb. And now the really nice thing that I love is that open E. Okay, because the bass is going A to E, so. And now I totally released that middle finger, just went. Okay. So the whole thing with that extra stuff, with that extra juiciness, again, you don't have to do that if you're playing with a backing track or with the band, because while you're doing this, the bass player will be doing that. When you're doing this, the bass player will be doing this. Okay, so just something to think about. If it's you on solo guitar and you're singing or whatever, then you might want to have that bass covered. Okay. okay? But it's a little bit tricky to do if you've never done hybrid picking. So the whole thing, and then we're gonna go into part 2. So, oh, sorry. One more time. Okay, so again, that's the 3rd and 4th string, then the open 6th string. Okay, so that's the first time around. Bear with me, we're almost done. We're almost done, okay? Then, second time around, everything stays the same, except now we're gonna go like this. Okay, bear with me here. So now we're barring down the 3rd and the 4th string, as we did in that second figure there, and we're holding down the A bass note, but now we're going to be hammering on the 6th fret 4th string while we hold down the bass. Release that, then you can go into E major chord here, or what Johnny does, the more difficult E major chord, is this one. And you can visualize this like a C major, right? Pushing it over to the 7th fret with your pinky, and then holding down the 3rd string with your 1st finger. Okay. And then the cool thing with that is that you can have the open E if you want. Okay, so second time around, I like to do that hybrid picking again, so I'll use my pinky even for the 2nd string. Okay. Whole thing. Second time around. One thing I forgot to say, the second time around, he doesn't slide in from the 5th string, he slides in from the 4th string. Okay, so you're ending it here. And then you just stay on this string. And then you slide in again to the 11th fret. Everything stays the same except it's on the 4th string. Okay. And then this thing. One other thing that you could do here if you want to spice it up instead of doing that. Oh, and one other thing also. Since you have the bass player, again, you don't need to necessarily hold down this note. You could just go. That would be enough. Depending on how much work you want to do and whether you have a bass player or not. Okay? Okay, bear with me. Good. So we've got all of that stuff covered. One other thing that you could do in that second part is this. Instead of this, you could do a more groovy thing, which is this. Okay, so now I'm barring down the 3rd and the 4th string. I'm doing a hammer onto the 6th fret. Okay, 4th string. The 3rd string is still ringing. This finger's holding it down. Okay, so I'm hammering, releasing, hitting those 2 strings again, going up to this note. Okay, so then again, these 2, and then ending it on that chord. Okay, so all right, the whole thing. It's a hard one to get. Now you could do either this, or you could do, I think I like to use the pick most of the time, just because it's faster rather than the hybrid picking thing. Play around, see what feels good to you. Okay, so that's the main little thing that you're gonna have to practice and master. I've been practicing this for 3 days constantly for hours and hours, so it's pretty smooth by now. So don't be frustrated if you try to play this and you can't. You will get it, okay? All right, so now let me teach you that little solo line, okay? And then we're gonna get into the chord progression. So it's starting on the 14th fret second string, going into the 16th fret, and then bending up a half tone. So I'm bending into this note. So if you can, put a little vibrato on it. And then I'm gonna letting that note down. So then it's going up again, down, back to 14, 12, back to 14, back to 12, down to 9. So little vibrato there. That's the first time around. Second time around, everything stays the same. Except now I'm going to slide on the third string from the 11th fret into the 13th fret, go back, and then end it here. Okay, so really slow. One more, the second time around. Okay, one more time so you can get it in your ear. Okay, so that's that little solo line. All right, so now let's get in the chord progression. So check it out. It's a C sharp minor, going to an A major, and going into an E. Okay, so C sharp minor for 2 bars, A to E. Do it again, C sharp minor. Right? Does it a couple of times. Okay, so that's like the A section. We're going to be calling the A section, right? There's the A section, there's the B section, then there's the bridge, okay? Don't worry, we're going to check it all out. So on the C sharp minor, it's really just chilled out, okay? So you're just kind of chill. Okay, John Mayer, you know, and people like me like to do little licks. So from the C minor pentatonic, you can do these little double stops, right? But that would be a whole nother lesson. If you want to learn about, you know, soloing and putting little lines into your chord progression, I have a whole course inside the membership about that. Okay, so I can't get into everything in here. But, you know, it's just a C minor. If you don't want to do that strumming thing the whole time, just put in little licks in there, you know, from your C minor pentatonic, and it'll sound cool. Okay, so A, and then into the E. Now Johnny likes to play E here, and I like it how it sounds more here too, better here too. But if that's too hard for you, this chord, and I'm sure it is for a lot of people because this is a tricky one, just play the E here. Okay, so C sharp minor, A to the E, right? Or you could do C sharp minor. That little Hendrix thing, and then, okay, so that's the A section. Then when he goes into, and we're going down, you can feel it too. Okay, so that's a B major. Now on this B major, what you can do is add in this little sus4. Okay. And again, if you don't know this is a B major and this is a C sharp, you know, all those things, I teach all of that inside of the All Access membership as well. And it's also inside of that free book. So make sure to download that if you don't know these things, okay? So B, right? You could either hold down a bar chord and then with your pinky just sneak down. Go into that C sharp minor to A. That's the first time around. Second time around. Now he goes into C sharp minor to F sharp minor. Back to C sharp minor, my dear. We're slow dancing in A to E. And then that happens again, right? Or that solo. You know, both happen at the same time, so you could choose what you want to do, okay? Good. So now there's just one last part where we're going down. So, oh no, it's the don't go cry about it part. Go cry about it. So that's F sharp minor to C sharp minor to B, and then back to F sharp minor. So F sharp minor to C sharp minor, B to F sharp minor. Now it repeats itself. F sharp minor, C sharp minor, B to F sharp minor. The third time around, F sharp minor, C sharp minor, B, and now it goes into A. C sharp minor, we're slow dancing in A to E. Okay? So that's the chord progression. Those are the different parts, okay? This is a long lesson. I'm sorry for that. One other thing I want to show you, okay, because I want this to be a full lesson. Instead of doing the solo with one string, you could go. That's another thing that Johnny does. I like calling him Johnny just for fun. Okay, so check it out. So for this, I'm using my first and my middle finger because this is a tricky move here to make. Let's zoom in. Okay, let's zoom in, let's zoom out, let's make sure that we're in focus. Okay, so check it out. I'm starting off on the 12th and the 14th fret, first string, second string. Then I'm moving that a whole step up. And then we're doing this tricky slide in. So this is tricky to slide in from here into here. Then a little vibrato to it then. So. Okay, but that's what's happening. So 12th fret into the 14th fret, first finger, right? 12, 4, 16, 17. Then it just goes back. New move. So now I'm at the first string, 11th fret, second string, 12th fret. Then it goes back here, and then it ends here. So that's 7 and 9. All right, so really slowly. 12, 14, 16. I'm always referring to the first finger when I'm using these numbers. 16, 14, 12. New shape. 11. Back to 12. Okay, so. That's the first time around. Second time around is this. All right, so one more time. All right, those are all the parts for you. Alrighty, I hope you liked this lesson. I know it was a long one, but definitely worth learning, definitely very fun to learn, and have fun playing it. All right, Henry Olson here. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't yet. Check out the All Access membership. All of the courses I've ever taught are inside of there. You'll learn how to solo, you'll learn how to master the fretboard, you'll learn your way around the fretboard, all that good stuff. All right, take it easy. See you soon. Bye-bye.